Is age an impediment to technical improvement? Or, put another way, is there a ceiling to improvement with increasing age? The key physical issues that occur with the ageing process are a progressive loss of range of motion, certainly degenerative joint and soft tissue changes, the accumulation of previous injury and its effect on the body's function, and possibly also long-term changes that may have occurred with surgical interventions. Technically, it's often slower in terms of the improvements that can be seen, but they are still positive. It's obviously very important that that's an understanding that the health professionals, the PGA professionals, and also the individual golfers must have in undertaking a long-term process to improve golf performance. Put another way, most of our individuals that we see who are 45 plus are actually prisoners of their own bodies. Their golf swings are a direct reflection of their physical inabilities from years of sitting over the tops of desks or being involved in occupations that do not lend themselves well to the maintenance of range of motion and function required to swing the golf club in an optimal fashion. It's very important that we understand that in a number of these individuals, the processes that are going on will underpin the timeframes that we often see for them improving. For a good example would be tendinosis, or tendinopathy as it's called now, which affects multiple tendon attachments around the body. The Achilles, certainly the rotator cuff in the shoulders, golfers, and if you like, tennis elbow, so the outside for tennis elbow, the inside for golfer's elbow as they are termed. These are just examples that we commonly see in the age groups I've mentioned already. Now, the degenerative process in these particular individuals means that from time to time these areas can become quite symptomatic. We also know that the recovery rate for those types of injuries is very slow. So even when an individual starts exercising who may have had a lateral elbow or tennis elbow pathology diagnosed with the concurrent pain, that exercising starting now is only changing the microstructure of that tendon at something like 90 to 130 days. Though individuals may have changes in their pain levels short of that, and the reason for this is not specifically clear, the fact is that they feel improvements in their pain, but the microstructural change is taking 3 to 4.5 months. Not surprisingly, it may take 12 to 24 months for that tissue to have identifiable changes on imaging or scanning that is done by the radiologist. So it's important that we set the time frames a little longer for our older individuals, but nonetheless, it's still easier, as my wife says, to build than to renovate. It's much easier for these individuals to actually get the changes if the understanding is that they have a longer term perspective than we do with our teenagers or our players in their 20s. So in summary, the golf athlete believes that there is still very much a place for physical development and therefore the optimisation of technique in our older players. It's still underpinned by an assessment of their physical competence abilities, and that allows for individualised programming to be done when a thorough assessment of those other issues such as degenerative change, past history of injury, medical history is taken into account. The results may be slower, right, but they are still worth chasing for those individuals. Our biggest concern is that they need to be explained, and thus people need to have genuine commitment to make the changes in the older athlete.